It's time for sexy tool reviews, and we've got the sexiest of all tools to review, and that is an edge bander. This edge bander comes from Carbatec. I purchased it with my own money. Other brands around the world, such as Rockler, also sell an identical machine with a different lick of paint on it. So this is a long-term review. What makes this a long-term review? Well, I've put on about 230 meters of edge banding. That's 2 of these rolls complete, and this is about 30 meters of it applied. You know what I'm getting at. I've put on a lot of edge banding for a hobbyist woodworker over a year and a half. Yeah, let's review it. Now, despite appearances, this is not actually a very sexy tool, so I'm going to front load the conclusions so that you can get out of here if you're actually not particularly interested. 2 questions to ask and to answer. Does it do what it says it does? And should you buy it? First question, super easy. Yes, it will apply edge banding that is pre-glued onto the edge of melamine, plywood, MDF, whatever. Second question, should you buy it? Probably not. Okay, so why probably not, Paul? So let's say that you're a beginner woodworker and you're doing a beginner woodworker's favourite task, which is buying new tools. You're looking at this and you go, oh, I've seen it on the YouTubes, maybe I need to get one of these because all woodworkers make lots of cabinets. No. You'll kind of know when you need one of these, and chances are you don't ever need one of these. Let's say you're making 1 or 2 cabinets out of melamine in particular, and you're really doing 1 or 2. Nah, just iron it on. It's more work to iron it on, but it's not worth spending 700 Australian dollars or more, I can't remember what this is up to, on this machine. Now, if you're someone who is maybe doing half a dozen cabinets and you're happy with the edge banding you can get from Bunnings, you know, this melamine tape that's 0.3mm thick and it's very fragile, also don't bother. If you're happy enough to compromise on getting crappy materials from Bunnings to make your cabinet, don't spend the money on this tool because it's still going to be a crappy edge banding job on it. It'll just go a little bit faster. If you are, however, someone who is doing hundreds of cabinets a week in a commercial setting, also don't get this tool because it only handles pre-glued edge banding, not the much wider variety of unglued edge banding that requires pallets to melt and apply and all of that. Okay, so if you're a beginner woodworker, no. If you're a big commercial business, no. If you've got 1 or 2 cabinets to do, no. If you're going to use this edge banding, no. Who should get it? If you're doing some occasional cabinet work, or if you're doing, I don't know, 5 cabinets or so, and you are wanting to use PVC or ABS edge banding, particularly this thicker 1mm or even 0.5mm stuff, then yeah, it's actually pretty good for that. And I'd hate to use this stuff using an iron, household iron, because it's pretty thick. It doesn't transfer the heat that particularly well using an iron. It'll work, it's just slow, and this really speeds it up. As I said, I've done about 230 meters of edge banding, and I would have gone crazy trying to do that with an iron. But I've also made about 30 cabinets and, I don't know, 40, 50 drawers since buying this. So for me, it's actually made a lot of sense. Let's take a bit of a closer look at the machine to see what you get. So this is the edge bander, it comes pre-assembled. You do have this spool holder, which is useless and is bad and is going in the bin after this review. I'll talk about that in a moment. We've got this table here, which is great for drawer parts, but for cabinet parts, it's a little bit on the small side. This is just a shelf, not even a cabinet part, and you can see it doesn't balance. If this came out a little bit further or had some hooks that you could add in an extension table, that would be pretty good. It doesn't, so you need to apply a bit more pressure. Another way to get around that would be some downwards pressure fingerboards, featherboards, that's it, that would hold your material in place. That could be improved on. If we look over here, this is the business end of the unit, I suppose. It's a heat gun. That's basically all this is the heat gun and a little platform, and you're feeding your edge banding and a knife. We'll get to the knife, but this is very basic. You could absolutely DIY it yourself. I didn't want to burn my house down, so I bought the tool that shouldn't do that. The heat gun is a 2000 watt heat gun with variable temperature control and 2 settings. It has on and more on. Hang on, about 1000 watts, 2000 watts for the different heat modes. You'll find with different materials, so this thicker edge banding, you don't want it all the way up, otherwise it will deform the edge banding itself pretty easily, and then as you're pushing it through the rollers it tends to dent. But you'll find with each material you'll need to adjust that. Unfortunately there's no real guide for what you need it to do. It doesn't really tell you the temperatures, but it's hot and then more hot. These guides, they're okay. They're not great, but they're okay. This is where you feed in your material, edge banding material, and this knife here is how you chop it off. And for the crappy bunning stuff, it works just fine. Problem is this thicker material. Well, it's actually quite tough, and that's kind of one of the reasons why you'd use it. And try as I might, I can't actually cut through it. So it's a bit weird that you really shouldn't use the cheap stuff, but it's only the thin, cheap, fragile stuff that will cut through. So the thicker stuff that you should use, you can't just punch down. There's not enough leverage. It just doesn't have enough of a ratcheting mechanism to do it. So the solution is to hit it with a hammer. Then cuts just fine. It is a very violent motion, but it will do the job. Look, it's not ideal, but it does work. And for the other stages of edge banding with this thicker stuff, you're going to be hitting things anyway, because nothing's really good enough to cut through without having a lot of leverage. So long as you know about it, it's not a big deal. The backside here is the one spot where you do have to do assembly if you want. These 2 mounting points are for this spool holder. So that would attach like so, and then you've got this pathetic spool thingy that goes there, so that you can get your big roll of edge banding. And then there's not actually enough room, so it would go that way, and then you need to keep it back there somehow to feed in. Nah, this is garbage. So again, it's one of those contradictory design things that you wouldn't buy a machine like this to use the small 50-meter rolls or less. But if you have the 100-meter rolls or larger, you can't actually fit it on the spool holder, and it doesn't work. So look, it's not a big deal because you can make your own spool holders. It's just a dumb design that doesn't make any sense to me. I end up doing all of my edge banding on the outfeed table. So the edge bander sits here, work pieces go there, sort of feed onto my cart. And for the roll of edge banding, I made this little spool. It just matches this particular size, and the cutout hole is for one of these mag switches. So table saws here, turn that so it's locked in place, but it can still spin freely, meaning this can feed into the edge bander just fine, and has a nice, fairly straight route. It works just so much better than the included spool holder because the bloody thing fits on. So you'll find that it has little rubber feet to stop it from skidding around on your workbench, because you tend to apply pressure into the rollers and into the edge banding. I'll often apply that pressure with my guts, pushing along. You have to reach, grab this to whack, and you can see what can happen. This isn't a particularly glossy finish on the workbench. It's a little bit scuffed up, so it does have a bit of grab, but it doesn't take a lot of pressure to actually move it. So you'll need something to stop it from getting away from you. I use a couple of bench dogs that hit on the frame, and then that's just fine. But again, it's just something you need to know. This might be a little bit difficult to explain. Between here and here is the distance between the choppy blade and what's cut off and how much extra material there is that's going to be on the end of your board. So you need to chop it before the end of your board gets to there. Otherwise you're just wasting material, and that little bit of extra leverage that the material has on the edge of the board can cause it to come off if you knock it. It'd be an accident, but it's a little bit annoying to deal with. There are no marks on here. I've had to add these 2 marks for, you want to cut it somewhere between here and here. It works fine for me, but that's something that could have just been laser etched onto it or had a sticker there, go chop here. Just little minor things. So to recap, you probably don't want this. If you do, you're in a very narrow band. And it does the job pretty well, but there are a bunch of minor design tweaks that could happen that would make it just nicer to use. They won't happen. But if you know about them, they're not too big of a deal to take care of yourself. What about competition? There's maybe half a dozen different edge banders on the market before you get into the full industrial machines, and this is the cheap one at $700. There's a Virutex one, which is handheld, which I wouldn't want to use to make the cabinets, maybe for a couple of repairs on site, maybe 1 or 2 cabinets, but having all that weight applying to each cabinet, that would just be a very slow process and very tiring. Then you step up to something like Festool's Conturo, I think it is, which is about $7,000 Australian. So that's a completely different league, and they're all sort of around that price before you get up to the big boys, which wouldn't fit in my workshop. So, you know, not really an option. It works, does the job fine. These tend to keep a reasonable amount of their resale value because they don't really wear out all that well. They do get a bit dirty, and it's not super easy to clean because of just how it's designed. You have to basically take all the parts off to be able to clean things, which is fine. That's it. That's the review. It's fine. Let me know if you want more exasperated man tool reviews. Thanks for watching.